I really think that changing of the city's, the poverty elements of the city, I really think that had an effect on like, stuff like the murder rate, stuff like the crime rate,
Do you feel like drill music perpetuated that as well? I know it's a lofty question.
I mean, I think that every style of music perpetuates the lifestyle of the people that made it to some degree, right? And rap has always been a kind of music where you kind of talk about what's going on around you. So
Hmm.
like I don't put that more on them than I put it on any other genre. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? Just what rap is you kind of report on the world outside your window. So like, why would I expect drill to do anything but that? You know? Do I think it's bleak? Hell yeah, I think it's bleak, and I wish things weren't like that. But I don't think that the music is the problem. I
Mm,
think the music is a symptom. You know
right.
what I'm saying? And if shit got better, I bet maybe that music wouldn't resonate with people so much.
And I always felt that that's the quintessential argument about gangster rap and
Hmm.
what was going on in LA is this kind of perpetuating it, or is this just are these the street reporters kind of being
Yeah.
a reflection of their environments? And so you coming from out there, moving to LA, these are the two most gangster cities in the country. You know what I mean? I mean, not to say that there's
I mean, because I'm just thinking, damn, what Houston got to say about that?
no, no, no. But right.
You
I
know what
mean,
I'm
obviously,
saying?
yeah. There's Memphis, there's Baltimore, there's
Yeah.
Detroit.
Hell
Like,
yeah. Hell yeah.
but I mean, like, they're kind of the reason why I say that is they're kind of like the two original strains
Mm.
of the type of gang banging.
And of the big gangs, the Bloods and the
Right.
Crips, the GDs and the folks. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like all that shit being in Chicago, and then was that an interesting transition? Like, okay, you come from a place where there's all these gang banging politics, and you have to watch how you wear
Hmm.
your hat and all that. You know what I mean? Like, and then you come to LA, where at that time there's still really active color banging. Now it's more about what kind of hat you're wearing
Hmm.
or other things that.
I mean, I think growing up in the hoods I grew up in Chicago prepared me to live in any hood.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like it's and I usually like cuz I'm really comfortable in hoods, so like I tend to like, especially if I move to a place, that's where I want to live. I want to live like with my folks, you know what I'm saying? And
right.
that's typically like in a hood. Like, and I feel like it's mostly the same, man. I feel like it's mostly the same. I feel like really the main rule is, at least what I've seen in the last 30 years, because it might not have been like this before, is that for the most part, if you not trying to be in that shit, they not really fucking with you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think
Right.
there might have been a time in like the early 90s, mid 90s, when it was more just open warfare. And as soon as you set foot on the block, it was on.
You get
Like,
impressed.
yeah, like even if you ain't from somewhere, you got to claim you from somewhere, or else like you a neutron, and that's not even good. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, um, I feel like for the most part, if you ain't about that, you all right. And if
Mm,
you're trying to be about that, it'll come to your door.
right.
But you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like it's mostly chill now. It's mostly families. It's mostly people trying to live their life from day to day. And yeah, shit happens and people get caught up in it. But I feel like the politics now are only important if you trying to play the politics.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Do you feel like you being because obviously you have a rap style that's very different from what a lot of these kids are listening to.
True.
However, you're not pretentious at
Right.
all. You're able to meet people on their level. You're super down to earth. You could interact with pretty much anybody, and that's not just these collegiate
Yeah.
super brainy people. You're able to chill with.
Yeah, man. I live in Inglewood, man. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Right.
yeah.
Do you feel like that's kind of a do you feel like the people that need a lot of the messages you have to kick sometimes it's often lost on them?
100%. Um, I had a song in a line in one of my old songs. I'm trying to reach black people in a room full of whites. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm,
that is my existence, man. I feel like, and more and more, like there are more people of color coming to my shows, which is great. But I feel like the main problem is culturally the way a lot of my people receive music is through the biggest channels.
mm,
It's through radio. It used to be through music videos. Like now it's through like the marketing channels that
Through the no jumpers.
yeah, and I would say even more like the cosign system, which is completely major label dominated. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
absolutely.
Like, and that's the way that my people hear stuff, and I can't, like, all I can do is make my music and put it out the way I know how to do it. And when I have resources, I try to get more attention on stuff. But it's still like the biggest way I reach people is through music writers. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't a bunch of fucking black people checking out Pitchfork's new releases. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like, it's some, but that's not like culturally, that's not the dominating way we hear stuff.
And if it is black folks, it might not necessarily be the ones that are in the trenches like that. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like,
and so like, that's really another thing that I miss about not having a weekly project Blowed. And even though like everybody there wasn't super hood, it's in the hood, and you get people to come and check it out. And even if the style of music that we doing isn't changing their life, they just see options. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, like, cause I used to like every job I had before I started doing music full time was working with young kids in bad situations to some degree. You know what I'm saying? And the one thing I learned coming out of all of them jobs, like working in halfway houses, working in schools and hoods, like, I taught special ed for a minute. Like, the most important thing you can do in that environment is role model different behavior that they haven't seen. That's the most important. Like, you can tell them what to do until you blue in the face. What they actually pay attention to is what you do.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
if one of the kids say something crazy to you, do you fly off the handle? Do you speak to them with patience? Do you try to follow whatever behavioral program y'all have? Do you take it personal? Do you get emotional? Like, that's what they're paying attention to.
Yo, we just hit 400,000 subscribers right here on the Clips channel. So if you want to help us out, click subscribe, get us to 500K. Yeah.